Everything on this table behind me was crocheted with a circle. Everything as basic as a granny square to a basket, even a beanie, all the way to a little more complicated as, say, a stuffed animal. Everything here utilized a crochet circle. That is why video number 4 of my crochet basic series, Basic Stitches, I'm going to go over the circle. I'm going to talk about things such as the 3 ways to begin a circle, the magic ring, the chain 2 method, the chain 4 method, the pros of working each. We're also going to talk about working continuous rounds versus working closed rounds, and then even how many stitches to place inside that first ring or the first round of your circle to make either a cone or a pointed shape, opposed to flattening that out to make a very flat circle. So let's go through all of those things. Again, if you're here just for a refresher, check out the timestamps. Otherwise, let's dive right into how to begin making the crocheted circle. There are actually 3 different ways that I can think of to start making a circle. And honestly, all 3 of them will get you in the exact same point, same position to begin round 1. So it's really honestly either up to the project that you are using or up to what you're comfortable in using. I'm going to start by showing you the magic ring. To make the magic ring, we're going to take our yarn with the tail pointed downward, take 2 fingers, drape the yarn around the 2 fingers and kind of pinch it with your thumb, wrapping the yarn around your 2 fingers. And then when you come back around, you're going to make this X shape. You're going to cross over the first yarn and then take your thumb and just kind of pinch where those 2 yarns cross each other. All right, grab your crochet hook, go underneath the yarn that wrapped all the way around your finger, grab a hold of the tail that's attached to your yarn, your working yarn, and pull that yarn underneath. So now you have a circle and you have a loop pulled through the circle, but you're still pinching so that way you can keep hold of everything. And then, see, still pinching, working our way around, yarn over, pull through the loop on your crochet hook for a slip stitch. And that just means you've closed it so you don't have to pinch anything anymore. It's all secure. Great. And then depending on which basic stitch that you are going to use within this magic ring, you're either going to chain 1 for a single crochet or half double crochet, chain 2 for a double crochet, or chain 3 for a treble crochet, chain 4 for a double treble crochet. In this case, because I want to work single crochets, I already have the 1 chain or the slip stitch, so I'm already set up, okay? 1 chain on there, perfect for the single crochet, double or half double crochet. And then depending on which project you are working, it'll tell you how many stitches it wants you to put inside this magic ring. So for example, let's do 6. So I will take my crochet hook, work inside the circle, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops here, yarn over, pull through. So there's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you want the magic ring to stay bigger than what you're working with or how many chains. So there will be a big gap here, and that's totally okay. When you've made all of the stitches that they want you to make inside the magic ring, you will then take this teeny tiny tail, hold back the work, so pinch your last stitch here so it won't come undone, and then pull the tail and it will shrink that circle in the middle to this itty bitty little thing. A lot of people like the magic ring because you can get that center so closed, which can be a big deal for a lot of individuals. And then depending on what you are working next to move on to round 1, you will just go ahead and start working round 1. So that is the magic ring. Let me go ahead and show you method number 2 to begin a circle. The second method I'm going to show you is the chain 2 method, very popular. So taking your yarn, make a slip knot like you're going to work a regular chain. Perfect. Then you would chain 2, 1, 2, and work back into the first chain. So if again, they wanted you to, in the pattern, to make 6 single crochet stitches inside the first chain or inside the magic ring. You'd find that first chain and make 6 stitches. 1, 2, all in the same chain. 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Now in this case, you will see it's not as closed as the magic ring. So even if I were to pull the tail, it doesn't affect that circle in the middle. It is still small. Nothing's going to get through there. You are already set up to start immediately working into round 2 of your creation, but that is the chain 2 method. The third method I want to show you is the chain 4 method, which you will see often. It's either chain 4, which is more common, or there'll be multiple chains that they want you to chain and join together. So same situation, starting with a tail, creating a slip knot, attaching your crochet hook. And in this case, I'm going to say chain 4 is what they say. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to slip stitch into the first chain to create that circle. So come back, find the first chain. I kind of take the tail and loop it around to create that circle for me. It makes it easier to work into that stitch. Yarn over, pull through, and pull that loop all the way through for that slip stitch. There we go. And now it's going to want you to work inside that circle. So I would chain 1, or depending on which basic stitch you are using, chain however many chains you need to work up to get to that next level, and then make 6 single crochet stitches inside that circle we've made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. And then you would just continue on to the next round. Now, when it comes to the chain 4 method, it leaves the biggest hole opening in the center, which you can go back and close by sewing. Like when you're weaving in this end here, you can use that end to close the top. Many people will use the chain 4 method if they have a lot of stitches that they want to put inside, such as 12 or 15 stitches they want inside here, because you do have the room. However, it does leave you with a bit of a gap on the top. So again, you can close it or choose to use a different method. But those are the 3 methods: the magic ring, the chain 2 method, and the chain 4 method, all used to create a circle. You're going to see all of these different types of beginning examples, and now you know how to tackle them or how to substitute them. If you don't like one method, do another. Again, they take you to the exact same point to start the next round. Continuous rounds versus closed rounds. What are the differences and what are the pros of using each strategy when working in a circle? All right, let's go ahead and begin making our circle, starting with a slip knot, attaching our crochet hook. Now for this particular example, I'm just going to start with the chain 2 method, and I'm going to insert 6 single crochet stitches into that first stitch or that first chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the first example I'm going to show you is working continuous rounds. Continuous rounds are also known as or referred to as a spiral stitch. So you're working, building upon itself in a spiral motion. With continuous rounds, it is very helpful and extremely handy to have a stitch marker nearby to help indicate where your round ends and begins. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and insert my stitch marker into the last stitch I just made, which is stitch number 6, to help tell me I've just closed that round. All right, now with continuous rounds, you literally find the very first stitch you made of that round, and you will work the next stitch on top of it. In this case, I'm working single crochet stitches, so I will make a single crochet on top of that. Just dive right into it. For round 2 of most circles, you are making an increase stitch in each stitch space. All that means is making 2 stitches in 1 stitch space. I'm using single crochet stitches, so I'm going to make 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch space. And that's an increase single crochet. If I were working half double crochets, double crochets, I would be making an increase half double crochet or increase double crochet, in which case I'm just making 2 stitches in the same space. So just continuing that around, making 2 single crochets in each stitch space. All right, I've made it to my stitch marker. That stitch marker is the last stitch space of that round. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 stitches in that stitch space and then remove the stitch marker and place the stitch marker in the very last stitch that I made, showing I'm closing off the second round. Now you could also choose to remove the stitch marker first and then insert the 2 stitches. It's not a big deal as long as you have a way of indicating and remembering that is the last stitch space of the previous round. All right. Now we just made 2 stitches in every single stitch space. To make sure you are staying on count, you should end this round with 12 stitches because we started with 6. 2 stitches in each stitch should give us 12. I'm going to look at my V's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Great, my stitch marker is in the 12th stitch. And then working continuous rounds, I dive right into round 3. Round 3 is generally increase stitch, 1 stitch. So you will add 1 stitch between your increases. So in the first stitch space, I will increase 1, 2, and in the next stitch, I'll just place 1 stitch, 1. Next stitch space, increase, 1, 2, following stitch, just 1. And that will be the repeat pattern for round 3. Increase single crochet, 1 single crochet. Make that or repeat that all the way around. Now in this case, increase single crochet, 1 single crochet means that I will be adding 6 more stitches to round 3. Now 6 more stitches to round 3 means I should end round 3 with a total of 18 stitches because round 2 had 12 plus 6, 18. Now I think, oh, I did. That was supposed to be just 1. And 1, 2, last stitch should just be 1. Now let's count just to make sure we did this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You should end round 3 with 18 stitches, so we are right on. Now I can move my stitch marker to the top of that last stitch to show I've just ended round 3. Now if you're asking me, Tiffany, how do you know, how are you able to see what round you are on without counting per se? If you lay this flat, you'll see the center ring, the center hole. The first ring right off of the hole is round 1. Then you'll see a ring after that, that is round 2. And a ring after that, that's round 3. So you just count your rings and that's what round you are on. 1, 2, 3. So I am about to begin round 4. And that is how you would work a continuous round or a spiral. All right, let's go ahead and back up and let's show you how to work a closed round. All right, so let's work a closed round. Starting from the very beginning so I don't confuse anything. chain 2 method, 1, 2, 6 single crochets in the first chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Now to work a closed round, you're going to find the very first single crochet stitch that you made, and you will slip stitch in that stitch space, yarn over, pull through, and pull that loop all the way through the first loop, and that closes the round. So it makes it very smooth all the way around. And then you chain to get to your next round, chain up, so that way it puts you right in tow to start working the next round. Now, if you're working a single crochet or half double crochet stitch, you'll generally just chain 1. If you are working a double crochet stitch, you will chain 2, so 1 and then 2. Treble crochet, you'd chain 3, and double treble, you'd chain 4. And that just kind of gets you in level with the top of where that stitch will be. Right, so I'm single crocheting, so I just chained 1. For round 2, again, we will increase single crochet in each stitch around. You will place your first stitch in the same stitch you just slip stitched into, because we had slip stitched into the first stitch space to close the round. So finding where I just slip stitched into, make 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, then continue making an increase single crochet stitch all the way around. You will know you finished when you end with a total of 12 single crochet stitches. All right, let's go ahead and count to make sure that I did finish finding the V stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Now working closed rounds, it's super important that you count the number of stitches, because you don't want to accidentally work into the slip stitch right here. If I were to put 2 single crochets into this spot, I would now have 14 stitches in my round 2. And that's 2 additional stitches. That's too many, and I will end up with a wonky shape, not the shape that I desire. So it's important that you count, make sure that you have the correct number of stitches in round 2. Skipping over that slip stitch, finding the very first single crochet stitch that we made, slip stitch into that stitch, and that closes round 2. Let's do one more round. So I will chain 1 to level myself off, getting ready for the next round. Round 3, the pattern will be increase single crochet, 1 single crochet, increase single crochet, 1 single crochet. Repeat it all the way around. Again, I'm going to begin working in that same stitch space that I just slip stitched into, because I had slip stitched into the first stitch space. 1, 2, next stitch, just 1. Following stitch, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, there we go, and 1. Great, and again, you want to make sure you count your stitches. We want to end round 3 with a total of 18 stitches. I have 18 stitches here. Remember not to put any stitch in that slip stitch. Find the first single crochet and slip stitch into the top of that to close the round. There we go. And this is what it'll look like, what a closed round looks like. It's very clean, very smooth, closed circle. All right, so I actually made an example right here. Both of these circles are made with 6 single crochets in the middle. Working off of that. This particular example is worked using continuous rounds. This example is worked using closed rounds. The benefits to closed rounds, this one right here, benefit to closed rounds is when you make a color change. If you have any type of, you want to control the color change of whatever it is you're making, whether it's a beanie or a stuffed animal, the closed rounds really help to divide out very cleanly the 2 different colors. The transition is very smooth. However, the con to closed rounds is you can see that slip stitch join here at the end of every single round. You see that. So there are ways for you to hide this join. It's just a little more advanced or a little too advanced for an absolute beginner. I would rather you absolute beginners practice working the circle, and then later on when you have really gotten comfortable with making this, we can play with hiding that or camouflaging that particular join as it moves into the next round. For the continuous rounds, the great thing about continuous rounds is you don't have that very obvious, oh, I've entered into another round situation. It's much smoother. The transitions are cleaner. It's just everything about it is cleaner. The only thing is because you are working in spirals, you will have to find a way of closing off, cutting off your yarn, tying it all together before you start a new color to try to help guide you into a smooth color transition. It's a little more difficult to make a smoother color transition with a spiral. It's going to want to look like an abrupt stop-start situation. So I'd say the con is the color change, but the pro is that it looks much cleaner, smoother in the transitions of the one color. When it comes to working in circles, a very common question that I have been asked is how many stitches to put in that magic ring, or how many stitches to put in that first chain of the chain 2 method. And really it depends on what shape you're trying to accomplish here. The less stitches that you put in that first round, the pointier your circle will be. The more stitches, the flatter it will be. So in this example, I put 4 stitches, 4 single crochet stitches in round 1, and then built it, and it had more of this cone shape. In this example, I started with 6 single crochets in round 1, and it domes slightly. It has a bit of a point. It's not completely a flat top. In this example, I started with 8 single crochets in the center, and it has more of a flat shape to it. And then I wanted to go even further and show you what might happen if you add too many stitches to the center. And in this example, I placed 12 single crochet stitches in the first round, and it crowded, the stitches crowded to the point where it started to ruffle. So it does not lay flat at all. It's too many stitches, it ruffles. So if you run into any of these in your situation where if you want a point, maybe you're making an ear, or you're making a certain particular shape for the top that you want more of a point in whatever it is you're making, I would place less stitches in round 1 and then work. Round 2 is increase stitches in every stitch space. Round 3 is increase in the first stitch, 1 stitch in the next stitch, then increase 1, increase 1. Round 4 is increase 2, 1, 1, increase 1, 1. Round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Round 5 is increase and then 1 stitch in the next 3 stitch spaces. I actually have a little diagram that I will include in the description section and comment section below this video that I have created, where it kind of helps guide you when expanding your circle, how to know what to do in that particular round that you are working. And it's really simple to start understanding, oh, this is the progressive increase, so I now know what to do if I want to keep going. All right, so I just wanted to also mention, this also depends on the crochet hook that you are using and the size yarn that you are using. The bulkier the yarn, the less stitches you're going to need in round 1 to accomplish that flat shape. Because again, bulkier yarn takes up more space, it takes up more room. So you're going to have less room in that round to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And the same thing with smaller yarn. The smaller the yarn, the less room that yarn takes, and you may need more stitches in that round 1 to make it flat, opposed to, say, a size 4 weight yarn. All right. I'm hoping that this is helpful in giving you an idea of particularly making a beanie. If you want to make a beanie, oftentimes people will start with a little more of a roundness to the top of a beanie. Or if you wanted to work just a flat circle, maybe you're making a coaster, you might want a flatter shape. But play with it. Also, play with it in the sense of, if you're making your circle and you're noticing, oh my gosh, that is pointing up for me and I don't want that point, go back to round 1 and add a stitch or 2 to help it flatten out. And you'll see, oh, that's where I make my changes in round 1. If you're making something and it's starting to ruffle like this, know that you just placed too many stitches in round 1. Undo your work, go back to round 1 and maybe take out a stitch or 2. Keep going and see if that ruffling smooths out to that more flat circular shape that you desire. I hope that helped you out a little bit on starting your circles, the increases. If you want a little bit more about making, say, a ball, I did create a video on how to make a crocheted ball, which talks about elongating this shape, this circular shape, and working the decreases to close the other end. I also have my chart to help guide you with each round in the description section and comment section below. I will also include the chart on my website, crochetwithtiffany.com. If you'd like to go there, just quickly grab that. That way you have a quick reference on how to continue to grow your circle to meet the size that you want to make and how you can do that. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. The last video of my Crochet Basics series, Basic Stitches, is about the common mistakes that absolute beginners make with their basic stitches. Video number 5, hop on over there to finish off this series and check out what mistakes are common and how you can bypass those mistakes.